Welcome, all fellow wannabes. Welcome to the show. You are listening to the Wannabe Critic podcast. It's Mandalorian. We're reviewing Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 5. We're over halfway there. We are reviewing The Jedi. As you can see, I have my wife with me, one Emma Fast, who's joining us for this episode. We have one Caleb Henley and one Rex Tucker. Mikey Collins, a.k.a. Toon Link, will not be joining us tonight. God rest his soul. No, I'm just kidding. Toon Link. That's what I call it. That's what he always picks Toon Link and Smash.
Oh,
yeah. So that's why.
Okay.
One of those people.
Yeah, if you literally just runs away the entire time and Smash. Mikey, this is what you get for missing out on the show this week, but you know how it goes. I know he's listening. How are we feeling tonight, guys? Emma, how you feeling?
Dude, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling so pumped. Actually, I've had too much caffeine today, and I'm really excited to talk about this episode.
Emma, speaking of caffeine, we this episode is in fact sponsored in part by Raise Energy. You can use _wannabe critic on rappsports.com to get 15% off your entire order. It's delicious.
Look at that plug.
I know. It's so simple.
It.
Now, Emma, you watched the episode twice today. Am I right?
I literally watched it and then watched it immediately again.
That's exactly what I wanted to do, but I was too tired.
Oh.
So I'm jealous of you. So you've seen it more than me.
Okay.
But anyways,
there you go.
Caleb, how you feeling tonight, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm excited to talk about this. It's gonna be a fun episode.
I literally wanted to text you. Like, I think I texted you and I said The Mandalorian is the greatest thing to happen, in the past decade to Star Wars or something like that. But I texted you and then immediately went to sleep, so I can't remember what I said. But
yeah, something good.
Yeah,
you texted me. It was like 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's how I roll.
Story of our life.
I'm excited that you're excited. Rex, Valley Boy, what do you?
You are so mean.
I'm sorry. I love the way Rex talks, and I wish I talked like that, but just without even trying. So there's that. I feel like people only like the show now because of the way Rex talks.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but Rex, how you feeling, bro?
Dude, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm feeling good.
I was just gonna lean into it.
Yeah, he's like, dude. No, I'm just kidding.
Good.
I'm glad everyone's feeling good tonight. It makes me sad that we're already over halfway through the Mandalorian season 2. You guys, we've come this far. A lot has happened. I read one of the stupidest things I think I've read on the internet, and one of the worst takes I've seen on the internet about the Mandalorian, and that it's that the structure of the show continues to be formulaic, and that, like I call it, we call it Freak of the Week or whatever, or Adventure of the Week, or literally just side quests the entire time. He is a bounty hunter. Like, his entire life is literally made up of just drawn out side quests. Like, that's literally what the show is supposed to be. So how do you guys feel about that take? Like, do you think the show is starting to feel formulaic in any way, or does it bring a new level of excitement each stinking week?
No, I don't agree with that take at all. I think that, this season, even more than last season, is building towards, in basically one plot line. And there's little branches here and there, but it's all one large plot line. So that's a really odd take to me, because I don't see The Mandalorian as a Monster of the Week show. Like, Monster of the Week shows are, like, if you watched NCIS for 20 years or something like that, that's a Monster of the Week show. But this is not that. This is building towards something. And I think that people that look at it as a Monster of the Week show probably just are not familiar with Star Wars, might not be familiar with Star Wars as a whole, or really just trying to grasp at straws for something to criticize about this show.
I agree with that, Caleb, because I look at it like this, like, to me, I see Freak of the Week shows as kind of like you buy a single New York slice and that's it. That's what you get for that week, whatever. Whereas each of these episodes is like coming together as one whole pizza, to where now, like, by the end of this season, we're literally going to have a way better picture of what we had before. And no one wants just one slice of pizza. Let's be real. Like, we want the whole thing. Just give it all. Sausage only, though, because that's how I roll. Sausage pizza for the win. Rex, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you guys, and that's a great metaphor. And I also like pizza as well, But That guy's an idiot. Yeah. This show's great. It doesn't feel formulated at all to me. Unless by formula meaning, it's the formula of a bounty hunter, like you said. Yeah, so I don't really understand that take or the people that overly criticize this show. I just don't get it. Yeah.
I think it's been so easy for us to overly criticize literally every single thing about anything we've ever done, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring the realistic side of like, look, this is the Wannabe Critic podcast. Whether you like our takes or not, we own them. We hold true to them, and we've criticized the crap out of everything Star Wars. I come to the show every single week, and I'm like, this show is great. Like the objectivity of the show, it does what it's supposed to do. And I think at the end of the day, even if someone like Emma isn't super duper into Star Wars or is asking questions about stuff, it rewards Star Wars fans for being Star Wars fans. But at the end of the day, it gets people who aren't huge Star Wars fans hyped to know more about Star Wars. Emma comes rushing in. She's like, oh, my God, who's the guy that she was talking about? And, of course, all of us in unison are like, oh, Thrawn. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. The Mandalorian is the best thing to happen to Star Wars in the past 20 years. Changed my mind. It's so great.
I'm not trying to knock people that, like to criticize. But if you're doing it just to, I don't know, be that person, then I don't appreciate that. But if you have, good criticism –
yeah.
Then
I just don't like trolls about anything. Like trolls about anything are just the worst. Like just
it does stink that we do live in a culture where people are going to troll about whatever it might be. I mean, I think you could find trolls for the Dark Knight trilogy if you wanted to, and that trilogy is near perfect. Come on, and you could find trolls about it. So it stinks because I mean, to me, this series, The Mandalorian. Is it perfect? No, nothing's perfect. But is it about as close as you're going to get for a TV show? Yeah, it is. And people are going to troll. And it really stinks that we can't just sit back and appreciate something in the moment. And because I know that in, 10 or 20 years, we're going to look back on the show and it's going to be held in such a high regard, not just in the Star Wars community, but just in pop culture in general. And I think it's just sad that we can't appreciate something as good as that right now in the moment.
Or at least, the vast majority of us can, but there's also those people out there that are like, it's formulaic. It's like, dude, get out of here. Like,
they're just trying to get views, I think.
Literally. That's all it is.
It kind of takes away from actual critics who have good criticism.
Yeah.
It makes me think of, have you heard of the Angry
Oh,
Joe?
Angry Joe. I hate that guy. I can't stand that guy. You love him, don't you, Rex?
Yes. No, I don't love him. I think he's trying to bring I feel like he brings some accurate criticism, even though he hates on everything. But
yeah, I could see it. Like he does bring on, a lot of that though in the moment. If you watch his streams and stuff too, it's fueled by emotion immediately. Like he immediately, rather than trying to see the good at first, he immediately tries to find the bad things about it. So go ahead, Caleb.
One of my favorite things on YouTube are honest trailers. And
those.
Honest trailers are incredibly good at, critiquing something and bringing out all of the flaws in a thing, whether it's something that's really good or something that's just downright terrible. And it kind of, it dumps on everything, but also it is doing it in a way to where it's not just yelling about something. It's bringing out the criticize in a satirical way that's actually funny and enjoyable. And then also it's not afraid to actually praise something for being good at what it is, even though the whole point of an honest trailer is to basically bring out all the flaws and critique something.
Respectfully making fun of it.
Exactly. And that's what it is. And that's fun. That's what we do here.
Exactly.
We spend most of the time, I've said it before, where our whole thing is, we'll criticize something and then we'll give it 8s and 9s all around.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And that's because, that's what you do for something that you love, but that doesn't mean that you actually hate it and troll it. There's a line there. And I don't like the just constantly yelling at something.
You critique
and at everything. Yeah.
That's great. I like what you just said. You criticize the things you love, and this is a shout out to one Zoe Collins. We do not rate things too high. We appropriately score things on this show, ladies and gentlemen. So don't you ever call us out ever again. You understand me?
We are wannabes. We're wannabes, though.
Yeah, we're wannabes. Prefacing. But we've jibber jabber. That was guys. That was like the best. You know what? It's like the best intro we've ever had to a show. And you know what? It's weird. Mikey's not here.
Oh my
I don't.
God.
No, I'm just kidding. We love you, Mikey. So here we are, chapter 13, right?
Yes.
Chapter 13, the Jedi. So let's just start with it. You know, holy freaking crap! Ahsoka Tano, live action. I was almost in tears by how cool this was. Like literally just. Because we've seen that character from a little kid, and now she's like a trained like killing machine, and just like she's just destroying these guys. It's like where does oh my god, there she is, like she's popping in and out of the fog and doing the thing, and I don't know. It should have been weirder in my opinion. Like it should have felt a little off. You know what I mean? In my opinion, like anytime you transition something from like animation to like live action, I mean, we've seen, you know, I mean, Rex probably knows this, but like the Death Note thing, you know, like you try and translate something from animation. Yeah. Sometimes it just doesn't work. And in my opinion, I was very, very skeptical about how this was going to look. But at the end of the day, I'm like, wait a minute, this is Dave Filoni. And there's a reason we don't have any Ahsoka comic books. And there's a reason we don't have anything else to do with Ahsoka where Dave Filoni is not directly involved. That is like his kid, literally. And it is the way they treated that character in this episode could not have been more perfect. Literally. It was absolutely amazing. What's our takes on Ahsoka really fast on this episode? Emma, let's throw it to you.
I mean, all of my takes about this episode are about Ahsoka.
Oh, snap. Okay.
You know, I think it was a couple episodes ago, me and Mikey were talking about how we didn't want to see Ahsoka anytime soon, maybe even until next season. But I can honestly say this was my favorite episode of The Mandalorian so far. And I don't even freaking know who Ahsoka is. You guys all know who she is. And, like, I'm obsessed with this character already. Like, literally obsessed.
Well,
and
sounds like we're watching the Clone Wars.
Hold on. Let me get to it. No, yeah. You guys heard me, argue with you a couple weeks ago about I didn't want to watch an animated series. I didn't want to be forced to watch an animated series. Well, look at me now. I am officially saying that I'm going to watch the animated series. Because
let's go.
This episode was just done so well. And I have to see what her story is. You know what? Okay. Let me just say this. As a girl, I relate with girl characters. It's not like a woman empowerment, like woman power thing. I just do. And like I love to see a woman hero. And in the Star Wars universe so far, I have not been excited about a girl character. I feel like Princess Leia is whiny. I've never really liked her that much. I mean, it's fine. She's a huge deal. She's fine, but I've just never loved her. Rey was good, but like I like Rey, but what I'm trying to get at is I've never felt the same way about Princess Leia and Rey the way I felt about Ahsoka in this one episode, dude.
Guys, are you freaking hearing this right now? This is beautiful to me. Like this is literally music to my ears, and I'm kind of right there with you. I'm like, man, maybe I do want to go through Clone Wars again already, like because of this one episode. Maybe I do want to see Ahsoka's journey again, like because that was the best part of Clone Wars. So, yeah, I think everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. And hot take, Leia's overrated. R.I.P. Carrie Fisher. So, there's that. But what else you got, Emma?
Let's see. I said all that. Sorry, I took notes. yeah, that was just kind of my overview of how I felt about the episode. I will say I had 3 like favorite just like little scenes. Just at the beginning when she's just going ham on those guys, and she keeps turning her saber off, and like then she like, you know, gets in there, and and then like there was just one point where she like cut through a tree, and then it just like falls behind her, like it pans out and it falls. Loved that. I loved the scene where her and Grogu.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute.
Her and Grogu are sitting by the lantern, and they're like communicating telepathically. I didn't know that's what they were doing till I watched it the second time, because she explained that. But and then she just like picks him up, and like the moon is behind them, and it's like backlit. I was like, that's gonna be beautiful fan art someday.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
And
too.
then another part that I thought would be amazing fan art is when they infiltrate together, her and the Mandalorian, and like she just shows up, and like with her sabers like this, and it just lights up her face. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and like, yeah.
Dude, I watched that scene like 5 times. I kept rewinding it because it was just so cool how she just like lights up her face.
And she just looks mad.
Yeah,
like she just like looks fierce.
She's so chiseled. Oh my god,
Rosario Dawson.
I freaking love her, dude.
Also, shout out to Rosario Dawson for liking one of my tweets the other day.
What?
Just saying, she did.
Oh my
She
God.
did. She did.
No way.
She did. I swear. I quoted one of her tweets, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and then she liked it. She dropped one of those
Dude,
hearty hearts.
I'm
So
literally
dope.
obsessed. I haven't been this excited about a character in a long time.
that was
Fact check
that's
you on that.
do it. Go to my latest quoted tweet about Darth Vader and go and see who liked it.
Literally, my glasses are fogging up because I'm sweating. And
It's hot.
excited.
It is hot.
It is hot in here.
It is hot in here. I don't have a gauge. In my
I
vent.
do feel like I should let some other people say stuff, but like I'm just so stoked.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Fine. Go. You
What?
stayed your
What are you
ground.
laughing at?
She did.
I told you.
Wild.
I told you. She did. It was like right. It was yeah. I
Dude.
told you. Rosario Dawson. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Caleb, I'm gonna throw it to you. How do we feel about live action Ahsoka? And I'm sure this is gonna come back throughout the episode, off and on once we get into like plot points and stuff. But how does Ahsoka land for you in this episode?
No, I love her. I mean, I thought it was awesome. It's funny because Ashley Eckstein, she's the voice actor for Ahsoka in the animated series, and she's someone that is a fan favorite, and she does a really good job voicing Ahsoka. She's kind of in the same way that like I think like Bo-Katan had the actual voice actors come back and play her in live action. I think a lot of people wanted to see that with Ashley Eckstein. That didn't happen. Instead, we got Rosario Dawson, and I think it's incredible how well she was able to pick up and deliver that character and pick up kind of where Ashley Eckstein left off. Because Ahsoka is a character that's been around in Star Wars just about as long as any other character in Star Wars, like in the Star Wars universe, because she's been there from the Clone Wars now all the way to after, the fall of the Empire. So she's been around for a lot. And she's probably one of the most experienced characters in the Star Wars universe at this point. And she's had a lot of character development. And Rosario Dawson did an awesome job in just kind of, picking that up and just continuing that character. And it really shows you even just more of the character development of Ahsoka. And it fit perfectly, just like a glove. It was awesome. Another thing I just want to bring out about Ahsoka in this episode, and one of the reasons I liked it so much, I think a reason why so many people like The Mandalorian and it's as good as it is because it's grounded. It's kind of like going into watching Iron Man for the first time in theaters. You come out of the theater thinking, man, that was a good superhero movie, and I liked it because it was grounded in reality. And I think this kind of has a similar effect on people. The Mandalorian seems more grounded in reality than normal Star Wars properties, which are just, these crazy, fantastical space operas that just don't seem grounded. This seems grounded in reality, and I think it's more relatable because of that. But you run into a problem when you start like getting into the Force and Force sensitive. It's like, okay, well, how do we keep that grounded and also while showing just how powerful these characters actually are and what they would actually do? So they have a really hard task, but I think they executed it so well because you have the Mandalorian, and he's an amazing warrior. You've seen that he's like this brute. Well, then you're kind of seeing that, there's other even better warriors out there. We saw that and got a glimpse of that with the other Mandalorians in Bo-Katan earlier this season. Then you get an actual Jedi and you get Ahsoka, and who's not only a Jedi, but probably one of the best Jedi that's been around. You know, one of the best ones that we've seen in the Star Wars universe. And it did such a good job of just capturing just how amazing she is and how skilled she is. Like, you know, you get all those scenes with her and it's kind of terrifying, like how like unstoppable she is. And that opening scene where she just, you know, she's slicing through those guys and going in and out of the smoke. And then like at the end of it, she just walks up to the gate and, you know, she's like not even really scared. And she's just like, I'm giving you a day. Otherwise, I'm coming in here and taking your trash. And like, I'm giving you a day to figure it out. And then just walks out. And it's just like, it did such a perfect job of just framing her, all while keeping it grounded in a way that's like believable and doesn't seem too like, I don't know, fantastical or whatever. It was awesome. And I just loved it so much because it stayed true to what the Mandalorian is while carrying on this character that is just, she has a cult following and so many people love her and she's beloved by people both, you know, within Disney and like in, you know, Lucasfilms and all that stuff and in the fan base and bringing her to a wider audience. And you have people like Emma and it's just like, you know, she's relatable. Rey is not relatable, and I think that's the reason why her character falls flat for so many people, but Ahsoka actually is relatable. And I think so many people are going to, you know, kind of, you know, grab hold of that and it's going to have an awesome effect. I love it so much.
And she's just so BA, like you were saying, like she's like, I don't know if that's a thing that she's like the best Jedi we've seen in a while or whatever, but like I was thinking that when I was watching it. I don't know.
She's very just naturally talented.
Yeah,
she's very
like,
in the cartoon, you know, in the animated series. She from a very, I mean, we're talking like 10 years old, 10, well, probably no, like 11 or 12 years old at this point. I mean, she's already going on missions and like being trained by Anakin and like already going in the field. And like at 16 or 17, she's like already commanding troops. Like she's very much, I mean, akin to Luke Skywalker or even Anakin Skywalker in terms of talent, natural leadership, talent, and force attunement. She's got everything, all the makings of a great leader. And you think about it, in a time of war, what are we looking for? We're looking for great leaders. So it makes sense we'd put her to the forefront of, you know, the entire war.
Yeah, because like I don't know nearly as much about you guys about the Star Wars universe, but for me, just watching this and seeing the way she fights, like I've never seen a Jedi like her.
Yeah.
She's just so freaking good. And it seems so effortless.
Yeah, she
and
has a very unique style of fighting.
Yeah, and like I've never seen that before.
Yeah, good questions. Rex, what's your take on live Ashoka Tano?
I mean, shout outs to Rosario Dawson because she just nailed it. Like from the minute you see her, there's no question that she is Ahsoka, and she does it so well. And you guys kind of pointed it out. You know, how awesome she is and how I don't know, she just takes out people with ease. And, you know, that's because she is one of the stronger Jedis in the whole canon, really. She was trained by Anakin and she has all that experience in the Clone Wars. And honestly, she kind of, I don't want to say carried, but you know, I've only seen about 4 seasons of the Clone Wars so far, but I feel like she kind of does carry a lot of episodes. And
that's her show. Like that is her show. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of weight behind her character. And I think they portrayed that really well. I liked what Caleb brought out about her feeling grounded and Mandalorian in general feeling grounded. Because to me, when I think of Star Wars, I think of the trilogy, and those feel most grounded to me. So I like that the Mandalorian follows that. I don't know. It just gives you that same feeling of being grounded, like Caleb said. It just makes it feel more realistic, I guess. The way they portray the Force powers, you know, her Force jumping even looks like natural. And I really love her lightsabers. I I almost bought her lightsabers at Disneyland, but they were like super expensive, so I didn't. But I wanted to get them, and I love that they're white. They're so awesome.
Well, the white blade, if I'm not mistaken, I think that means independence. Correct? Is the white color? I think.
I think it's like a gray Jedi, right?
Right.
Like
Okay.
you're not-
Yes. I mean, Caleb, you're shaking your head. What do you know?
I think that's right. I think that's right.
She's
And
an
just like the way that
ex-Jedi.
she has the two is so unique to like any other Jedi I've seen.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I think this is the first time we're seeing someone wield two lightsabers in live action. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, like purposefully having
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, according to Dave Filoni, one of the show's creators, the lightsaber blades are white to reflect non-affiliation with the Jedi or Sith, and that makes sense. She's not. When we think of Grey Jedi, we think of someone that walks both sides. Yet, usually they're kind of like not an anti-hero, but they're going to work towards the greater good. And would we put that in Ahsoka? I think Ahsoka is going to help whoever she has to help in the moment. But Ahsoka has an agenda. We learned that in this episode. And, it was kind of interesting to see her go toe-to-toe with the Mandalorian in that moment. How easily could she have – you think she was holding back in that moment? I mean, what do you guys think?
Man, I think she had to be. But that shot when he puts his arms up and it stops the lightsaber.
Yes. That was so cool.
I was just like, oh, my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like when the Beskar holds up like that, then it's like you're building on that lore of the Mandalorians and Jedis being enemies.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, holy crap, if that's true, then yeah, the Mandalorians could actually probably fight Jedis and be somewhat successful. Like, I love that. It was so subtle but so awesome.
Oh no, that was amazing. Like I definitely picked up on that. That was
And just the lighting and the way like all the reflections hit off of the armor and just everything with the lightsabers, I was like, this is the best lightsaber action we've seen in the past 7 or 8 years.
definitely.
Yeah.
Period. Like, I mean, it was incredible. It was awesome. Rex, we kind of digressed from you. Go ahead.
No, yeah, you guys brought out some good points. I love the that little skirmish between her and the Mandalorian, and it just looked so pretty. Very well choreographed. And we really have to shout out Dave Filoni for this directing this episode. And mainly because I don't even know if he's directed a lot of live action stuff besides, I think he did one other episode, right?
Yeah.
Season 1.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, that sounds right.
So, I mean, man, I can't believe he executed that so well. And his style was really cool. Obviously, he takes a lot of inspiration from Kurosawa and old samurai movies.
Yes.
You really see that in this episode. You just get that feeling, that samurai feeling.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I saw a thing where he said that specifically. He said that Ahsoka is basically imitating like a roaming samurai, and that's kind of his view on her. Is like she's a roaming samurai in this episode. That's what she is.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's awesome, and it really comes through in the episode. At least for me, I've seen a few Kurosawa, or I think 1 or 2 Kurosawa films, and it does give you that vibe. And I really liked that. I kind of lost my train of thought, but
Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry.
Well, and I think we were on the topic of Dave Filoni. If you can, I wish Dave Filoni had a podcast where he literally just talked about Star Wars just by himself. Like they just feed him questions and he just answers them. Because whenever you go, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but he talks about a certain duel that happens in Rebels that's legendary. And you can tell he thinks so much, and he approaches the animated stuff he did he approached it like it was live action. You can hear him talking with the art directors and things like that, and them saying like, oh, whenever so-and-so does this, he's kind of, he's showing this part of his life or this thing that he did during his life. And then he switches to this other thing, like kind of representing this, and this. And he's so methodical with the way he attacks Star Wars. This man, Star Wars is in his DNA. This is Lucas' right-hand man. But literally, you think about it, it's like he took all the things. It's like, okay, Lucas, you're in the right direction, but now let me take this thing and make it better, like for real, because that's what he's done, in my opinion, is taken a lot of the base layer stuff that we have come to know and love and made it absolutely impossible to not love, in my opinion. So there's that. Does anyone have any final thoughts on Ahsoka? I know we're going to come back to it eventually, but we have other stuff to get to. So, go ahead.
I don't know. This could be more final thoughts, but I did just want to mention that, like, I hated seeing the Mandalorian and Grogu leave her at the end. This kind of sucks, but like now I want an Ahsoka show. Like, I don't want the Mandalorian show.
And like, get out. No, I'm just kidding. I think we all kind of felt that in our gut, like, and that's how it should feel. It should feel kind of like A New Hope, in a lot of ways, because that's the fundamental of you're always going to see Dave Filoni close out his stories with a feeling of hope, because he knows hope is the DNA that makes Star Wars relatable.
Well, and I do have a little bit more to say about that, but I'll save it till the end because it's more speculation. So
okay, yeah, we'll save our speculations toward the end.
Side point, just like I love the way the Mandalorian can like bring in these characters for one episode and really captivate you. And some of these characters aren't going to be part of the overall arc, but I don't know, it just does it so well where you don't. Yeah, you feel bad that you're not going to see Ahsoka, but it's not like it doesn't ruin the show,
Yeah, totally.
It just makes you excited for what's to come next, and it gives me hope. Seeing those lightsabers out like that, giving us better lightsaber action than anything in the prequel and the sequel trilogy. I'm like, give me Kenobi. I'm ready. Like, give me something on Kenobi to where I know, hey, it's coming. So I'm just going to say that. Let's throw it to our next topic, the next segment. Baby Yoda or Grogu? Grogu.
Dude.
My heart sank whenever I finally learned his name and whenever he responded.
In a bad way?
No, in a good way.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, he has a name. Like, we know his name now. Like,
dude, I hate that I didn't say this in the last episode because I was thinking it the whole time, but there was so much going on. Like, when I was talking about the Mandalorian becoming more of a father figure, I was like, Baby Yoda has to get a name this season. Like, soon. He has to have a freaking name. We can't stop. We can't keep doing the Baby Yoda back and forth crap. Like, I need a name for this kid.
Well, and just like seeing him the way he responded, like, well, just watching that relationship between them, when he's like Grogu and he's all, what?
I know,
like
every
time it's like, my name, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the vibes I got. And I've seen people say it's a stupid name. Like, what is your name? Dave. Your name's stupid, Dave. You know what I mean?
No.
It's a great name.
I love it.
It's awesome. It's so cute. I'm like, Grogu.
Grogu.
I love it. I
Dude.
freaking love it. What's the takes on Grogu?
He's
I
adorable.
think it's awesome. Like, yeah. For real. I love that we're getting away from the Baby Yoda thing, and I think they took a step in the right direction by just name dropping Yoda in this episode too.
Yes,
literally.
That was pretty awesome.
It
Yeah.
was so good.
And would you see whenever they mentioned Yoda, did you see what he did? He was like he reacted to Yoda's name. Grogu did. So
okay.
That's cool.
Maybe alluding like, oh, maybe they had some back and forth or something. It's just cool to speculate on stuff
I just
like that.
loved finally getting some backstory on him, and the fact that Ahsoka could communicate with him telepathically and he could tell her what his background was, and just we finally have like a little more information about him that just makes him feel like less of just like this B character and more of like, okay, we know more about him.
Well, yeah, and I think too, by the end of this show, this is going to be about him. This is going to be his show. That he is the Ahsoka of the Mandalorian. Like, this is low key. This is probably his show, and it's probably going to push the lore even further in that direction. I'm not going to say he's going to get his own show or something like that, but there's a reason they're making such a big deal about Baby Yoda or Grogu at this point. So yeah, there's that. But I want to debunk. I want to do something really fast. Rex, you obviously love Grogu, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I think the name's a little close to Groot, but I don't know if there's some like if they had any like I don't know if they thought about that at all.
I
or
never
what,
even thought of that.
Yeah, I didn't think about
That's
that
so
either.
funny.
Grogu. I mean, yeah, there
Well,
must be
those
something.
two characters, I don't know. They just kind of, they're similar in my mind, I guess.
I could see that.
I think I could see
When
that
he's
too.
when he's a baby, Groot,
Yeah.
of course. But
Very nice.
yeah, how can you not like Grogu? And it brings out that he was a little Padawan on course.
Yes.
Yes.
I love
And
that.
I saw this picture someone posted of like him with a little helmet and a lightsaber
That would have been so cool.
with the other like Padawan kids. It was pretty cool.
And that's actually what you must have read my mind telepathically. That's where I was gonna go. I've seen some theories on the internet. Like, oh, I guess Anakin missed one. It's like, bruh. There were hundreds and hundreds of Padawans in the temple, literally, of different ages and backgrounds. What does Darth Vader literally spend the majority of his time doing in the dark times? He is hunting down Jedi, like through different means, because they out there. Cal Estes, anybody? I mean, come on. Like, so to me, it's like just to hear that theory of, oh, well, like that makes Anakin's, assault on Coruscant like not as good. It's like, bro, there were so many kids there. Like, my biggest question is, who took Grogu from the temple? That should be the question. Not we shouldn't be concerned with how many kids Anakin killed. Are you a psychopath? Like, come on. Like, he killed a lot of kids, but he's gonna miss some. Like, come on.
Okay, I do have. Oh, sorry, Caleb. You go ahead.
No, I was just kind of run off that point. I do like that we've seen a lot in a lot of media, whether it was Fallen Order or we've gotten a little bit of it in Rebels, like this relationship between these masters or Jedi Knights during Order 66, making sacrifices for Padawans and trying to save their Padawans. And it's been like a common theme that we've seen in Star Wars, around Order 66 for the last like 5-6 years. And yeah, it'd be interesting, like flashback. It's kind of interesting. We've seen flashbacks before in The Mandalorian, like with Mando last year. We haven't really seen any this year, but it'd be awesome to get like some flashbacks of what that smuggling out would have been like for Grogu. Because Ahsoka says that she can't see anything that happened between Order 66 and like now, because it's all clouded and it's been like blocked out of Grogu's mind. It'd be awesome to kind of get some of that revealed. Because, yeah, there's a lot of questions there, a lot more backstory. And I hope, if we don't get it this season, it's not that big of a deal. But it'd be awesome, like, going forward, if we did at some point get a little bit of insight into that, just to see some of it.
No, I like that take, and I think we will. Here's my prediction, honestly. Like, I think they're going to give us just enough to get us really hooked on whatever story they're trying to say, and then be like, all right, continuing the story now. Like, you got to buy the books. You got to do this. You got to buy this stuff to get the rest of it. Or
I don't think they'll continue this story with books. I absolutely disagree with that.
Not the Mandalorian, but if you don't think they're going to tell sub-stories because if you don't think things are going to come out of the Mandalorian, you're insane. There's too much money there to be made. I don't know. I could be wrong, but maybe I'm insane. I don't know. But I just think it's such a big character Go ahead, Rex.
Just a little counterpoint. I feel like the books that they've released so far, they give bits and pieces, but they don't like, I don't know. I don't feel like they super delve into any like crazy unveiling or lore. I don't feel like we've seen that yet with Disney.
Yes. And here's my thing with a thing that's as big as Mandalorian. I don't disagree that there will be maybe some side plots that like the mass majority of people don't really care about that they'll release as books, but like stuff about Grogu, stuff about Ahsoka, like this was kind of my speculation that I was thinking was, and this may be completely off, but I was just thinking that like it's going to get people really excited about these characters, and I see the next trilogy being about these characters.
Grogu and Ahsoka?
Yes.
That would make a lot of sense.
I see the next trilogy being about Ahsoka and Grogu being in it. And because you guys saying that about her white lightsabers, that she's a gray Jedi, that gets me so freaking excited, because with this last whole slew of 9 movies, like I love them, but it did get a little old, the light and the dark. Like, I would love to see a trilogy with a gray Jedi at the forefront and seeing where they go with that. That would be freaking dope.
Yeah.
Rex has something to say.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rex.
Yeah, I think they're starting to go that way. We see with the new trilogy that they're kind of getting away. I don't know. It seemed like they were getting away from the Jedi like religion. They called it like a religion or whatever. So I think it is kind of going that direction. Unfortunately, I think they said the new trilogy was going to be like something crazy, like far in the future or in it,
Oh,
not in the same galaxy, maybe or whatever.
okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about all that. But
So I don't know if we could see Ahsoka in it, but I really hope she gets her own movie or something. But I think they are saving their good stuff to either put in movies or shows like this. I think they're saving their good content, and because I'm not seeing a lot of it in the books or like hearing anything crazy, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't trying to say like that this is going to be directly continuing the story of whatever. I think it's going to expand existing lore, and we are going to get something. I don't know if Mando
Yeah.
dies, that's what I'm saying is like there's going to be a line of books and comics and stuff like that focused around these characters we're dealing with right now within the immediate next 3 or 4 years. Like
Yeah.
there has to be, especially comics,
I agree with that. Yeah.
because Marvel, like, I mean, freaking Poe Dameron had a comic run. You know, we got insight as to, you know, Kylo Ren's backstory. That is canon in comics. That's the only way you can find his backstory is in comics. So, you know, there's that. Caleb, do you have something to say?
No, not really. I don't know. I feel like Star Wars is, I mean, Disney is still, I think, kind of trying to iron out everything when it comes to Star Wars and the best way to deliver it to its fans. And it's been a little bumpy here and there. I mean, definitely a lot of mixed reactions to things, whether it's books or comics or the movies. I mean, so I think it's still trying to figure out what's the best way. And who knows, maybe they'll think that, you know, the simpler, the better. And I kind of lean towards that way because when it's simpler, it's more inclusive. Sure, there's less money to be made, but if you can draw in more people to a movie versus, you know, a very niche, small amount of people who are actually going to buy and read comic books, I'd much rather appeal to the masses with, you know, a movie and making it simple and something that everybody can understand and feel included in than, you know, I'm only going to hold this information for that small segment of fans who are going to read the comics. I don't know. I mean, that's just my thinking of it. And I think that it could definitely go either way, but just, it would be cool. I mean, I think, you know, something as simple or, you know, like Grogu's, you know, backstory could be, I think it could be summed up in a matter of a flashback. And
Yeah.
we don't need that. I don't know. I mean, that's just my thinking. I think they could do anything.
Didn't you say like last time that they're kind of like spoon feeding us Star Wars content?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I absolutely think that.
But Mandalorian feels like you're getting a big chunk, you know, like you're getting.
Yeah. And I think it's a little bit of give and take. You know what? And I think it depends on what perspective you're looking at it at. I think that they're trying to do a really good, or trying to juggle, you know, spoon feeding it to people that are new to the series and maybe don't have as much experience with Star Wars, as much knowledge about Star Wars, or aren't as big a fan about Star Wars. So they're spoon feeding it to those people, or to the younger generation who are growing up with, you know, the sequel trilogy and then are being, you know, introduced to this huge universe. So I think they're spoon feeding it to them while also, you know, trying to deliver in these huge doses to their diehard fans who are, you know, driving the support of this franchise to keep them engaged too. I think they're trying to juggle and balance
It's a
both
tough
at the
task.
same time.
It's a tough task for sure.
I do think too that there is, I mean, we say a niche audience. There is a huge audience. I mean, if you put it up against the masses, I like what you said, Caleb, about delivering us. I think that the key plot points of whatever it may be. It's like, oh, here's this character, here's the thing, whatever, here's this flashback, whatever. I think it's smart to keep it simple. Give us the TV shows, Disney Plus stuff. You're going to make a lot of money on Disney Plus. Give us the movies, give us the stuff. But there is a huge audience that has wanted good Star Wars literature for a long time.
Well, and I think I agree with you that is going to be a part of it. Like, I definitely think that will be a part of it. Like you were saying, the only way to get Kylo Ren's story is from comics and stuff like that. Like, I definitely think there's going to be lore in the comics that goes along with The Mandalorian. But yes, there's a huge audience for it, but not nearly as big as for the show.
Right. And it's not going to be so big of whatever. It's going to be exterior stuff that people want to go searching for. Go ahead, Caleb.
Look, I might be making a really, really huge assumption here. And, if this is totally wrong, I apologize. But it does seem like the books and comic books were better back before, Lucasfilm and, like now it'd be Disney was overseeing and, everything. When, there was just a bunch of, different people writing their expanded universe stuff, and you got some gold out of that stuff, whether it was a Thrawn trilogy or whatever, there's some gold there. And I think it's because they had the freedom to go and do whatever they wanted. I don't think you have that now, and I think that's why the content is suffering and is not being as well received. And I think that's why, people are starving for that content because it's kind of now Star Wars is bogged down in this, thing where it's always going to have to fit into this perfect picture that Disney and Lucas has for Star Wars.
Right.
And I think that's kind of a limiting factor. So I don't know. I think that there's only so much good that you can really do there,
Yeah, I agree with that. And I do think if they can find it for me, because if you go back and read the Kylo Ren arc in the comics, it's awesome. It's really, really good. And I think it would make it enhances the live action stuff, in my opinion.
I have it.
It's good. It is enjoyable. It's interesting. But I agree with you, Caleb. I feel like, and this isn't meant to be a Star Wars literature discussion or anything like that, but the Kylo Ren series is over. It's done. There isn't a continuing story going on of whatever the thing might be. And I think it would be cool to get something like that. And maybe we get that with the High Republic. I don't know. But we've digressed from the main topic. It's time to move on.
How did we get here?
I don't know. That's what happens on WBCP.
I do have something to say about Caleb talking about spoon feeding. And I think that the listeners know by now what kind of fan I am and know that I don't know everything about Star Wars, but I would like to know more. And the way they delivered this episode, the way they've delivered this whole show, but especially for me, this episode really hit home for me that I do want to know more, and I do want to watch the animated series now to know more. I do want to read some comic books to know more. And the fact that they accomplished that in one episode for me is actually kind of huge, honestly. Like, the fact that they in one episode made me want to watch like 2 whole animated series with how many seasons, like they're doing a really freaking good job. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way.
No.
After watching this.
Yeah, you're not, because there's going to be so many casual watchers reviewers that are going to go into that episode and be like, oh my God, who's she? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think about like someone like Clay Villars who knows a lot about Star Wars, but I think about Clay Villars' dad.
Shout out to Clay.
Shout out to Clay if you're listening to this, bro. Clay Villars' dad, he just got into The Mandalorian. He's going to watch this episode and be like, well, who's that? She's awesome. You know what I mean? And maybe that curiosity is like, oh, well, you never know. People Google stuff all the time. They want to know.
Yeah, and I still think there'll be that level of fans that's like, cool, like she's a cool character, but like I don't want to go through that effort. But there's also going to be that middle level of fans that will want to.
Totally.
And like that's what they're trying. I think that's what they're trying to really accomplish.
Oh yeah, totally.
So
I think they're. Sorry, I was just going to say, I think they're doing that with multiple characters, and we've seen that in the season. I mean, Zoe was going off this last episode about how much she loved Cara Dune and wanted to see more of her. And I think you could say the same thing with Bo-Katan. I think you could say that, who knows what we're going to get with Boba Fett or with any of these characters. And I think it's kind of an awesome thing where, they're just bringing so many characters that each person can grab one and, make it their favorite character, their own favorite character.
It makes me think, like, are we going to see Ahsoka in the future of this show? What do you guys think?
1,000% yes.
I don't know if I don't know. I want to. I hope so. But part of me thinks she's going to have her own thing, her own show, her own movie, whatever it is, because whatever her plot thing is, trying to find that guy, that Thrawn guy or whatever, that can't be in this show. That I don't think that can be in this show. I mean, maybe we'll come cross paths with her at some point, but I don't think her main plot of like her trying to find this bad guy, I think that's a whole other thing.
And that's why it's fun to speculate, because I personally think, when Thrawn, they're throwing all this weird stuff at us, like they're putting Mandalorians, other Mandalorians, like, oh, maybe we could go to Mandalore, maybe we'll see Thrawn. It's like, I see Ahsoka getting a movie or two.
Yeah, they can't do all of it in this show.
It makes it so hyped, though. It makes the show more hyped because you have all these possibilities, and it makes people talk about it, and it's really good. Like when I heard Thrawn's name, I was like, "Yes, dude, yes."
Yeah.
Like he's my favorite villain by far.
Have you read all of the comic books and stuff, or like have you read the Thrawn trilogy, like the Timothy Zahn trilogy?
I never finished that one, but I'm like on the second or third book of the new Thrawn trilogy.
Okay.
And but yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's super duper dope. Go ahead, Emma.
I do have one hot take. I've thought of it a while back when we were discussing Grogu, and we kind of got off on that little tangent, but I have one like thing that I'm not a super huge fan of with him. Like obviously I love him for so many reasons, like everyone, but like just hearing Ahsoka talk about his past, and like we know he's 50 years old, and how old was Yoda when he died? 900 something?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you do the math, he shouldn't still be a baby to where he can't talk at 50 years old. And I just have one little hot take about that. Like, he was in this, like, Jedi school. Who knows what he was doing in that? He's obviously, like, super strong with the Force and stuff. I just feel like they're dragging it out a little bit with the fact that he's still a baby that can't talk.
Maybe he can talk, but just chooses not to. Like, Ahsoka kind of alluded to that in this episode.
Well, like, the way that he's just, like, goo goo gaga, like, all the time, and, like, the subtitles are always, like, Grogu babbling. Like, it's, like, he's a little baby that can't talk, but, like, he should, like, at this point, I can't do math, but he should at least be, like, 10 years old or something in, like, Yoda years or whatever, right? And, like, he should be able to at least talk, like, say words.
Go ahead, Rex.
I just want to point out that when you watch the trilogy and you see Luke go visit Yoda, Yoda does act like, I don't know, he's really like stubborn and immature.
That is true.
And, like, he has this weird personality.
That is true.
So maybe it's something like that, because I was thinking that too. Like, why does he seem like such a little baby? But he does have that like stubbornness and that like weird playfulness that like Yoda had, you know?
Yeah, that is true.
I'm not 1,000%. Go ahead, Caleb.
No, I was just gonna say maybe he's traumatized by what happened during Order 66.
That's what I think.
Reverted back, and he's stuck, and something needs to happen to get him unstuck. And maybe, we'll see him like vastly mature, like all of a sudden, which would be really weird. And that doesn't take away the fact that he's also tiny, but yeah, it's just weird. It's just I'm curious to see what happens.
Like, and I can
see.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sure Dave Filoni has thought it out, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm sure he has too. I just like that was just something that like I don't know. Like I do think that is what's gonna end up happening. That he is gonna mature like super fast all of a sudden, and then it's just gonna seem weird.
I am Groot.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just like I feel like in a way they're just playing that up so much that he is still just a little cute baby, and he is such a cute little baby. But at the same time, like, I'm ready for him to start maturing a little bit.
Yeah, but if he starts doing some Yoda flips against Asajj Ventress or something like that in the next few episodes, and is like, Attack of the Clonesing it and just flipping around with a green lightsaber somehow, I'm gonna.
He's not.
Yeah, me and Dave Filoni are gonna have words, so we have him on speed dial. We've been talking for almost an hour now at this point. But let's actually get to like kind of the body of what happened in this episode. We'll kind of wrap up with what we thought of the episode as a whole, and give us some speculation. So basically, Mandalorian goes to this planet where he's going to find Ashoka Tano. What was the name of the planet? Gorgas.
Corvus.
Yeah, Corvus. Which I don't. That planet sounds familiar. Don't know anything about it. Was that in Clone Wars?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll Wikipedia it.
Yeah. Please do. Very quickly.
Sounds like it was.
So, part of Mando's quest is he needs to deliver this baby to, its own kind. He finds Ahsoka Tano. She's like, look, man, I can't train it. Or she's like, look, if you help me overthrow this magistrate, she's being a total, to the town, help me do this thing, I'll help you, whatever. So, and she has the magistrate of the town there where she's lording over. She has a freaking dope Beskar spear. And, Mando gets that at the end of the episode once they undoubtedly overthrow the authority there. It feels like a Western yet again. Here we go. It was kind of funny, the standoff the Mando had with like her chief. He's like, all right, man. He's like, you win. And then like he tries to pull a fast one, but Mando totally like, Clint Eastwood's him basically. He's all, really fast. It was pretty dope.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and the good guys win, but then, Ahsoka's like, look, man, I can't train him. I'm doing something else. Whenever she fights the magistrate, it's kind of cool to see her going back and forth with the Beskar spear. And, like, I was kind of getting a little worried there for a second. I was like, they're making it seem like Ahsoka's in trouble. And Dave Filoni is really good at doing that, making our heroes feel like they're in danger. And even though I knew she wasn't going to die, it still felt like there might be a chance that she was going to die. And whenever you can do that, that's awesome. But ends up, the magistrate gets overthrown and everything's hunky-dory. But Ahsoka got the information she wanted, which was, hey, where's your master? Where's Thrawn? We get that whole, tidbit of information, yada, yada, yada. And, Mando and Grogu go their separate ways, and we're awaiting the next episode in a couple days. Go ahead, Rex.
Quick question. Did they show if she killed the magistrate? I didn't catch that.
They did not show it.
They didn't show it, but I mean...
Yeah, that's up for speculation for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't know why
you wouldn't.
Be alive, because her character has some depth to it, I thought.
Yeah, I thought the same.
Kind of explained who she was. And that actress, I guess, has done like a lot of martial arts and stuff. So that character seems kind of cool.
It is interesting.
Yeah, I could definitely see Ahsoka putting her in some type of prison and her showing up later.
Or being maybe. We'll see. I could see that.
Or maybe
I could see it either way.
Like, maybe she's in that torture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe Ahsoka did a slice and dice on her and left her in that koi pond.
Those torture hanging things were like pretty unique. Those were not, I'm not going to say they were cool, but like.
You are a psycho. Emma, guys, I mean, good Lord.
I've just never seen anything like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Good idea, right?
Yeah. I should try that.
Oh my God.
So who would you put in there, Emma?
Oh my God. All right. So we've been talking forever. I feel like we've hit the best points already. Should we move it into the speculation hour?
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, should we do like favorite scenes real quick or what?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't you start, Rex, since you suggested it?
Okay. Well, my favorite scene was basically the whole invading that city. I forgot what the city's called, Caledon or whatever. That whole scene, because you really get the Western feeling, you get the samurai feeling that Dave Filoni was trying to portray, and you get just an amazing action scene, and it was really well done, and I really liked that whole sequence a lot. With those droids too, I thought they were pretty cool. They're like a new upgraded assassin droid or whatever.
Yeah.
But I loved everything about that whole scene. It was my favorite part by far.
Okay. Dope. Caleb, what do you think?
Yeah, I think my favorite is probably the opener with Ahsoka in the fog. And then probably the rating afterwards was by far the best. And but I mean really the whole episode is awesome. And with the assassin droids, I think they said those are HK-87s, which correct me if I'm wrong, but in KOTOR, wasn't there an HK-47 droid? It's like one of the characters. I
Yeah.
wonder if that's like a nod to that, like the HK-87 is like an upgrade. Should be kind of
Yeah, it
cool
was.
little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Oh
Cool.
yeah, it does kind of look like him. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. Dope. Emma, what was your favorite scene?
Well, I kind of already went through my like 3 favorite scenes, but probably like the top was, you know, at the end when they were fighting all those people and she does that thing. I don't know how to explain it, but she just like brings her 2 lightsabers up and it just lights up her face. Like that was so cool. But I think I will probably at some point be purchasing some fan art of the scene of her like holding baby Yoda with the moon
Yeah.
behind them.
That was like iconic.
I just loved that scene.
I did too. I was like that's
I
gorgeous.
need that on my wall.
Yeah. I was like
I need
that's
to
gorgeous.
rewatch it because I don't know. I didn't catch that part.
You'll
catch it this time.
It's so
It's
good.
awesome.
It's just for a minute, like for a second, but yeah, it's really good.
My favorite scene was obviously the stuff with Ahsoka was just stinking awesome, but the thing that I think got me the most was whenever Mando, Grogu, and Ahsoka are all around the fire and like she's kind of explaining everything. We got more exposition on Grogu and just seeing his little face light up whenever Mando learned his name and like just seeing the whole dynamic there. That was just really special to me. And it emotionally evoked me, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh man, it made me care about the show and everything about Star Wars even more than I already did before. So
yeah.
Or the ending where he's like, is he like in the ship, like kind of wondering if he could even leave Grogu,
Yeah.
with her?
yeah, he's like kind of just he's fixing his little clothes and doing the whole thing.
I just love that they've really expounded on their relationship and
Yeah.
even with Ahsoka, her being like, I literally can't train him because he's so attached to you.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that they have expounded so much on that because they've been building up to it this whole time. And like, I just know that like because I know he will eventually, they will be like parting ways at some point, like I will probably cry. Like they've really built up this relationship really well.
It's like camaraderie unlike anything we've seen in Star Wars before. I mean, the only thing that I can think of is literally Lord of the Rings, where you have like this camaraderie of these characters really growing together, and it's kind of at a slow rate to where, I mean, at the end of whenever The Mandalorian ends, we're all going to be crying.
Oh my gosh,
like,
yeah.
So there's that. Really quick, we're running out of time here. Let's start to some speculation. Does anyone have any hot takes from based off of this episode? I have some new, just maybe conspiracy theories, as to something that could happen, but probably won't happen. I don't know. I still stick true to my thing of Baby Yoda. We're going to say goodbye to Baby Yoda for a little bit at the end of this season. Still think that's going to happen in some way, shape, or form. What if the Mandalorian dies, and since Grogu is so attached to him that he like, I don't want to say goes to the dark side because that feels wrong, but like, what if he kind of gets a little taste of the dark side a little bit, at some point, or has it ever occurred to you guys that the Mandalorian could die by the end of this show?
By the end of the show, yeah, but by the end of the season, probably not.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. That's kind of my newest thing. That's like the only thing I've thought after watching this episode is like, what if they made a point to say that he's so attached to the Mandalorian? What if the Mandalorian dies right in front of Baby Yoda or right in front of Grogu? Got to be so hard to not call him Baby Yoda.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
It'd be an epic way to end the series for sure.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
I don't see Baby Yoda, Grogu being dark side like anytime soon. Maybe like way later if they do movies with him or whatever. But just because he's still a freaking baby. That's my whole thing. It's like, how can they really progress his Grogu's story when he's still a baby and he can't talk unless the next season is like 50 years from now? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not 1,000% sold on the idea that he can't talk. Go ahead, Caleb.
I do think that we are going to see Baby Yoda do something dark side-ish in a big way. Because we saw that last season. He choked Cara Dune at one point, which is not good. So we've kind of seen that, and we know that he has too much attachment. Yeah, he has too much attachment to the Mandalorian, which Ahsoka says is bad, and the Jedi would all say was bad. So yeah, I think it's possible. I mean, I just watched the Rise of Skywalker. I was going to get into that a little later, but I just watched it, and Rey at one point like force lightnings a like ship out of the sky and like almost kills Chewbacca. So I think we've seen that, and that's kind of been a theme that's been coming up, is these characters having to try to not go to the dark side, and we see them kind of battle that. And I think we're going to see the same thing with Grogu. Wow, that's going to take some time to get used to.
It really is. I like that take. Go ahead, Rex.
What was that? What are we doing?
Speculation.
No, I don't know if I really have any speculations from this episode. Yeah, nothing I can really think of. I don't know. I don't know where it's going. It's just I kind of like that about it. I don't know where it's going. But obviously it's kind of hinting towards we're going to see another Jedi when they go to, what was it? Tython. When they go to Tython, and if he's able to attract another Jedi, so we know that we're going to see someone else that's force sensitive. So that's exciting. Who that will be, I have no clue.
It could be Ezra Bridger, or it could be Mace Windu.
Because that was one question.
or it could be Luke.
That was the question I was gonna ask everyone, was like, who's alive? Like, who could that Jedi be that we would know? Because I feel like they're gonna make it. They're not gonna bring in a whole new character for that.
I mean, they could bring in Cal Estes too, technically.
Yeah, I'm trying to just think of like Jedi that we know aren't dead around this time, like that have an opportunity to still be alive and be like Cal Kestis, Ezra Bridger, Ahsoka, Luke. Technically, Leia, I think at this point would kind of qualify.
Obi-Wan?
No. Obi-Wan's force ghosted. Mace, we don't. I mean, that's a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
So maybe
he would
also
he would be pretty old.
Yeah, he'd be old. But also, I mean, Cal Kestis, Jedi master trainer person that's also with him, that's in that game. I can't remember what her name is, but she's not dead, I don't think. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, or it could be a whole new character. But
maybe
I think
it's going to be a Sith. Maybe it'll be Palpy.
Yeah,
that'd be Palpy, Grand Palpy,
or like Asajj or Barriss. Those are two characters that are still out there that I would love to see kind of make a revival at some point.
That's beautiful because there's so many options at this point. It's Cal Kestis. I've been calling it Cal Estes the entire time, and you've been letting me do it. Freaking Caleb, what the heck?
Idiot.
Shut up, Emma. I mean, I think it would be kind of ballsy to bring in Cal. Personally, it would be cool, but I guess he's pretty young still at this point.
He's not too young though.
Yeah.
I think they could make that work.
It'd be cool. Whatever they do is going to be cool. So there's that. Is there any hot takes about this episode outstanding before we close out?
Well, you didn't ask me my speculation.
No one cares. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably not.
No, I'm just kidding. What's your speculation?
Probably no one does care, but I was just thinking, like, going along with that thought that, Rex had said that we know that the new trilogy, they've talked about it being like, none of these characters that we know. So, like, going beyond that, like, I do think Ahsoka will either get her own show or own movie. Like, we're going to see her more in live action, I think. And my speculation is that potentially she could end up being the Jedi that comes when Grogu does decide to become Jedi. Like, I do think she could be that Jedi to come and train him once he makes that decision. And then I think they could split off and potentially have their own show or movie separate from The Mandalorian. And like you guys were talking about Grogu having some type of situation where he could be, go dark side or whatever. But since you guys were saying that she's more like of a gray Jedi, maybe she could train him to be more of a gray Jedi. I don't know. That's just a thought that I had that I like. I would think that would be so freaking dope. Like,
It would be cool to see a Sith of Yoda's kind.
yeah, that would be pretty dope, actually. Like, I'm definitely not opposed to that. But
yeah, whatever they do, I think is going to be cool. And yeah, it's wonderful that there's just so many conspiracies that we can just kind of bring out of thin air. So go ahead, Caleb.
I think that.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say. I think that what they've done this season has been so great because we don't know what's going to happen in these last few episodes. Like,
Yeah,
we really
we
don't.
have no
We
idea.
have
yeah,
no
I
idea.
have no clue
No
what's
hints.
happening in this
And
show.
like, I've always felt like I had a pretty good idea of where they're going, and I have no clue. Like, I have ideas of where they could go, but I have no idea how they could all tie in together or how that all works out. It's awesome that they've done it this way, because not only is it like leaving us kind of stumped where we're sitting here, we don't know for sure what's going to happen, but it's also setting up so many like storylines where they could do other series if they wanted to, or we could, push things off into season 3. And
Yeah.
I love it. It's awesome. It's great.
It's time to score this bad boy.
All right.
All right, Emma, let's start with you.
Okay. The only negative, we didn't really talk about negatives this episode, but the only thing, and it's not even really a thing, was that, like, I loved the eeriness of this planet and like how it was foggy and dark and just like creepy. But I also hated that I couldn't see what the heck was going on. I don't know if it was just because I was watching it on my freaking iPad, but I'm sure it would have been better if I watched it on TV. But like half the episode, it was so dark, I couldn't even see what was happening. That really irritated me. But it's still not enough of an irritant to take off a point or even half a point for me. So he's going to hate me for this. This episode was pretty well perfect to me, and I'm giving it a 10. Sorry, Zoe. But this is my favorite Mandalorian episode. I loved it, and yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
I'm going to piggyback off of you, and while we're still in this area, it's a 10 out of 10 for me too. Honestly, there isn't enough. There's nothing here. There is literally nothing here to be mad about. Nothing. There isn't anything. Show me. So yeah, everything Emma just said. That's how I feel too. 10 out of 10. Caleb, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9.5. And like, I've never given anything a 10, but this is about as close as you can get. I'm perfectly happy with this. My only little critique is there's nothing that the Mandalorian really did that really was super memorable to me. I guess maybe the quick draw. And I mean, this is supposed to be his show. It's The Mandalorian. And so I think that might be like a little critique for the season as a whole, because he's been a little overshadowed in some of these episodes.
That is
But
true.
definitely not anything to be like mad about or to be upset about, because the show has overall just been awesome.
It's like whenever a dope rapper has like a bunch of awesome features on it, and that's the only songs anyone listens to.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that, like, at all. It's if this is the medium to kind of expand on some of these characters that, need more airtime, that's totally fine. So it's great. I mentioned I watched Rise of Skywalker. I actually watched it right after I watched this episode, because this episode had me just wanting to watch more Star Wars. And for some reason, I decided that the Star Wars movie I wanted to watch was Rise of Skywalker, because I hadn't seen it since it like came out in theaters. And I like Rise of Skywalker fine, which might be a hot take in itself, but you should not watch that after watching Star Wars of this quality, because then you watch that and you see so many flaws. And it's super almost irritating, because it's night and day what the quality of these two things.
You should have
It's
watched
just
The Last
kind of-
Jedi instead.
Yeah, you know what? I probably would have had just as many problems with it. And like I like the Last Jedi fine too. Like I don't really have anything super against the sequel movies. I don't think they're perfect I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything. They're perfectly fun movies. Then after watching Mandalorian, because it'll just make you kind of sad.
Yeah, it's for me. Mandalorian's my favorite Star Wars to date. I like it more than the original trilogy at this point, which might be slander.
Whoa.
But yeah, it's number one for me right now. So, Rex.
Right there with you, Gabe. Mandalorian's the best content.
Yeah.
we've had. But I am going with Caleb, and I'm going to give it a 9.5. It was borderline 10 for me, like so borderline. I can't really even explain myself well on why I like to take off half the point, other
Freaking
than
coward.
like I kind of wish we saw a little bit more of the planet and what was going on with that. Why it was like all deserted and stuff. We kind of just have to make assumptions. And a few slow parts. But like I did still like the first episode of the season more than this episode, even though like this episode brought so much goodness. But yeah, 9.5 for me.
I like that take. I agree with that. I wish we saw more about the planet and why they were so desolate and all that. So yeah. That's a good take for sure.
It's kind of like I wish I knew more about Dagobah type thing. Like it's just a kind of an interesting planet, like just kind of eerie and weird, and yeah, I like it.
I love
Nothing
the
like-
giant dinosaurs in the background.
Yeah.
Thing.
Just like what is
It's like, are we
happening?
in Oz right now? Like,
It's like Jurassic Park up in here.
yeah,
Yeah.
like literally, it's like a fallout. It's like a nuke went off in Oz, and
Yeah.
we're dealing with the fallout.
Like
now.
even during the day it was dark. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
That was pretty
Also,
interesting.
Just look like it.
This was my wife's favorite episode too.
Oh, cool.
Oh, is
Yeah.
Selena there?
Shout out to Selena.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Selena. Tell her I said hi.
Selena.
Hi.
I love
Hi.
you.
Well, there you have it. 2 10s and 2 9.5s from the Wannabe Critic podcast. This was a solid episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Take
We had a
that,
great time.
Zoe.
What's that?
Take that, Zoe.
Said take
Yeah, take that, Zoe. She probably quit listening by the time whenever we first
She
called her
hates
out.
us.
Yeah, she probably got
Just-
super
just-
sad.
Just wait until we review X3. It's going to be great.
I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. But stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. This week, X3, X-Men United. We are reviewing that as part of the review this week. We'll be doing a little bit of catch up, as well as reviewing that movie. We might be tackling a news subject or two. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We do what we want around here. So. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you go to popcultusa.com and reppsports.com to use the code _wannabecritic to get yourself, some discounts on some swag and some energy drinks. It's delicious. And, who doesn't like Miller High Life?
Please do it. Pop. What the heck?
That's hard to say, isn't
Dude,
it?
Pop Cult has some freaking dope merch.
They really do.
They have some really cool stuff. You guys should really go check it out.
You should. It'll give you 30% off your entire order if you do. I keep trying to hook up the rest. I keep saying that I'm going to hook up all of us with merch, but I don't think I'm to that level yet because I barely sold anything.
I
So,
haven't seen it happen. I mean, I live in the same house as you, and I
Yeah, well,
haven't.
you don't need any because you're not a part of Wannabe Critic Productions. So
Hey,
I'm just teasing.
I freaking
Stay tuned.
live here.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for more on that in the future. But hey, while we have you here too, it's good for you to know that we have stuff upcoming, some news upcoming. We'll be announcing some things in the distant future. December is going to be still a busy month. We're still going to be reviewing Mando. We only have 3 episodes left, right? So we have 3 weeks left of Mando, which will be
It
a
makes
nice
me
little.
so sad.
It really does. I'll be ready to review it, and I'll be ready to rewatch it. But we're going to put a nice little bow on 2020. With Mandalorian and a couple other things. The last episode of season 2 of Reviewing The Office will be coming out as well. Me and Hayden are taking a little break, and it's going to be. There's going to be some things wrapping up for sure, and then we'll kind of give you guys some insight as to what's going to happen in 2021. So make sure you're watching and listening. So with all that being said, though, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for watching, if you're watching, and thank you for preparing yourselves for a plethora of hot takes and potentially unpopular opinions. We will see you next time. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Later.
Yes.